Hey, what's up? It's Ket. Just got home from work a little while ago. Was looking forward to playing some Battlegrounds, and come to find out there's like a major data center power outage, and it's just like a complete disaster, worst case scenario situation for the game right now. Not possible to log in and play the game at the moment. And man, it's been busy at work, so I was really looking forward to playing some BGs. And I've been thinking about this Stamsork build all day long. So I was wanting to come home and play with it, but that's not going to be an option. Looks like it's just a wash for tonight. I'm just going to have to find something else to do. They're releasing some statements on the forum saying like, "Hey, we're working on it, but not anytime soon." Basically, shout out Zos_Kevin as always with the great messaging. But this Sork build, I just kind of feel like talking about it. I've been looking forward to playing with it so much, since I can't actually play. I guess I'll just talk about it instead. So my instinct is to call it a Stamsork. It's Tane. He's an orc, and historically he's always been my Stamsork. But this kind of incarnation of Tane, it's very much a hybrid Sork. It's very difficult to identify exactly where that line is. For example, he's using Dark Deal, just typically a Stamsork ability, converting Magicka back into stamina, your primary resource. And I'm using Silver Shards for the spammable, which is a stamina spammable, using Bombard, using Hurricane, Vigor, a lot of stamina stuff going on. But at the same time, using the Atronach Moondstone for extra Magicka recovery. And we have Haunting Curse and Mage's Wrath, Streak, So, what makes a stamina build a stamina build? What makes a Magicka build a Magicka build? I don't know. And I have a Mag Sork, and it's kind of the same sort of thing. It's like, I think of it as a Mag Sork, but it has a lot of qualities of a Stamsork. And where is that line exactly? I don't know. Just it's just a general feeling. Like, this dude just kind of feels like a Stamsork, like a ranged Stamsork. Even though he has a lightning staff on the front bar, It's funny, my Stamsork has a lightning staff front bar, a bow on the back bar, and my Magsork has a lightning staff front bar, bow on the back bar. And I wonder if that's just completely antiquated terminology now. Like, ever since hybridization is really kind of fully a thing, is the mag and stam thing even really applicable anymore? To me, it kind of is. Like, I have these two builds, and they do, for some reason in my mind, I can't quite pinpoint it, but one feels stammy and one feels magic-y, even though they play in a very similar way, both very dodgy and ranged and using a lot of the same abilities. I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of cool though. It's kind of like my two Cirque builds have kind of arrived at the same place from two different paths. But anyway, okay, so this build it's Plague Break as a double bar set. It's just full body Plague Break. Dark Convergence on the jewelry and front bar with a lightning staff. Potentate's Bow on the back bar, defending. Gaze of Sithis, Mythic Helm, and One Piece Magma. So that's the gear setup. 3 Swift on the jewelry, which I think is the way to go. This is a very, very, very squishy build, and you really want to have a lot of mobility. You want to be taking advantage of that mobility. All well fitted, 7 well fitted, 1 heavy, 1 light, the rest medium. So the bar setup, so basically, well, okay, and instead of starting off with the bar setup, let me talk about just kind of the roles that this build is all about. So obviously with the Plague Break and the Dark Convergence, it's like a bomber kind of situation going on. We are using the Negate ultimate. And that's the only thing, Negate is the only thing we have on the entire build that will proc Dark Convergence. So it's basically a dead 5-piece bonus, but it just majorly enhances your ultimate is the thing that it does. And to me, it's worth it. This isn't a build about having as much damage as possible. It's really kind of like a DPS utility build. I mean, that's not to say we don't have tons of damage. We do have plenty of damage, but it's it's worth giving up a 5-piece bonus if you can be extremely effective in those moments when you are doing your ult dump and really going for it. To me, it's just kind of worth it. And in the meantime, I have lots and lots of other ways of being effective. So number one, this is a CC bot. Is kind of like the main thing this build does. So we have Bombard on the back bar, the bow ability, which is an AoE root. And then, of course, we have Streak, which is an AoE stun. So that's kind of like the number one job that we have is to be spamming these AoE roots and AoE stuns, like every 3 or 4 seconds throughout the entire encounter. And this is very much a team build. I guess I didn't mention that up at the top, but this is a build that's, I only play Battlegrounds. That's the only thing I ever do. So this is very much a build that is intended to be a part of a group PvP situation. Definitely not something you want to be engaging in too many 1v1 fights unless you just kind of have a pretty good feeling that you could come out on top. But it's not intended for that. But so anyway, you're just kind of spamming Bombard and Streak every 3 to 4 seconds. You're just kind of alternating between those two. If you're not aware, immobilizations and stuns have 2 separate immunity cooldowns. So you can immobilize someone and stun them immediately afterwards, and vice versa. You can stun them and immediately immobilize them. So the idea is to just be spacing those 2 abilities, Bombard and Streak, about every 3 or 4 seconds throughout the entire fight, and that ensures that basically your targets are always CC'd, like basically 100% of the time they're either stunned or immobilized. Unless they have, immovable potions or some way of countering that. But basically that's the idea. And then the actual offense, like dealing damage, is very, very simple. We just have Haunting Curse, Mage's Wrath, and Silver Shards. The Fighter's Guild ability, that crossbow thing. And that morph, it like splits and hits multiple targets, each time. And if you remember, Haunting Curse was recently changed. It's in its full, the full damage hits in an AoE. Mage's Wrath, the full execute damage hits in an AoE. We're also using Plague Break, which if that pops, that's another AoE as well. So we actually have this really nice little mini bomb that we can be setting off basically every 3 or 4 seconds, So that's perfect timing between those bombards and streaks, So you're bombarding a group of enemies, you're tossing this Curse, Mage's Wrath, Silver Shards into the mix, then you're streaking to stun them, another Curse, Mage's Wrath, Silver Shards combo, bombard them again to immobilize them, Haunting Curse, Mage's Wrath, Silver Shards, streak again to stun them, and that's the whole thing. You're just doing that combo, starting with an immobilize one time, and then a stun with streak the next time, and just back and forth like that. That's your job. That's what you're doing. And then when you really want to go for it, you have your secret weapon with that negate ultimate. I like to use the damage morph. It actually does quite a bit of damage. And then, it's going to proc that Dark Convergence. It's going to pull everybody into the middle so that Haunting Curse, the Mage's Wrath, the Silver Shards, Dark Convergence itself does a fair amount of damage. The damage from negate, and you're very likely to, especially in like a solo 8v8 situation, there's going to be a squishy in there somewhere that's going to die. That's going to set off, the Mage's Wrath and the Plague Break, and it just kind of tends to set off a chain reaction. It works really well, especially, a lot of times, Dark Convergence, it's very counterable. A lot of people, it's very like highly visual. You really see it coming. All you have to do is throw up block and countered, it's all good. But with this bombard and streak situation, it kind of changes things because theoretically you've just been spamming this CC BS at them the entire time. They're strained on resources. And so by the time you do drop that ultimate with the negate, there's a good chance they're not going to have the stamina to do anything about it, or they may just be so bewildered by all the chaos you're creating anyway that they just can't react fast enough, you know. And the dark convergence, or I'm sorry, the negate ultimate itself kind of disguises the dark convergence. It's not as easy to see it because of the negate, so that helps as well. So, but I think if you're really staying on top of your job as CC bot and just spamming those bombards and those streaks just constantly, then when you do drop that negate with the dark convergence, they're going to be so like exhausted of resources and stuff that it'll actually be very, very effective in that moment. So you got to be very aggressive, very just a pain in the ass the entire time is what you want. And you want to hope that there's a fair amount of support on the team because the defensive kit, it's it's effective if you play it right, but it's not something you want to brawl with. You know, it's we have Resolving Vigor and Dark Deal as our main healing kit. You know, it's kind of a classic Stam sort where you really got to rely on that mobility to keep yourself alive. You know, it's hit and run, very much hit and run situation. You know, unless you have a pocket healer or just a very very strong healer that can just kind of keep you alive. But otherwise, you kind of want to be zipping in and out and recovering resources and rebuffing and that kind of thing. You don't want to really be hanging out inside of the brawl for, you know, more than a few seconds at a time. So if people like if you zip in there and people aren't dying right away, just that's fine. Zip back out, recover, rebuff, try it again here in a few minutes. Or here in a few seconds, I mean. So yeah, that's basically the idea. I do have crit surge. I think that's maybe one of the few abilities I haven't mentioned. You know, from a major damage buff, I have camo hunter on the front bar for mainly for the major crit buff, and you know, you get the minor berserk and some other stuff from it as well. Tripots. I'm using. You could either use sugar skulls or jewels of misrule for the food. Either one. I tend to do sugar skulls just because you get a little bit more damage from those max resources, and I like having that extra big magica pool to do lots and lots of dark deals. It's kind of nice, but either one's good. And I think that's Tane. I think that's the build. I'm not sure what else I have to say about it. Super duper fun, especially in 8v8s. It's also really great in like an organized group with a dedicated healer, and you know, especially if you have a nice brawly DK up front and a warden on the team, and maybe an arcanist shielder. I think this build really shines in a situation like that. So anyway, that's Tane the Stam Sork. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.